I know there's been a lot of.
Did you say your name?
Oh, sorry, my name is Eileen Rourke, and, I am a librarian at the moment. I have had different titles over the years. And I'm also a member of both the DC and the New York chapter, and, former president of this chapter. I also was on one of the focus groups for the alignment project, so I had some more background, but I do appreciate your presenting this information. My concern, I mean, I do have a concern about the name, and I wanna really address more the process right now than the name. Although I do wanna point out, you gave a little bit of history of SLA with, John Cotton Dana. And what's interesting, as you said, there was a lot of uncertainty about the name 100 years ago. And there was, I think I read somewhere where he said, well, you know, you could always change it, and we've had it for 100 years now. So apparently it's not so easy to change the name, as we can see as we're going through this process now. My concern though is more about the process. I understand where the concepts are coming from, the alignment project and the research you've done. Although, like Lois, I did my own little informal survey and got very similar reactions for whatever it's worth. But what I was kind of baffled about when I saw the name was the fact that we only had one name to choose from. I guess it's either that or SLA. And my question is, why weren't we given, like, you know, some of those other names to vote on? That, I don't know if you guys know the answer, but that's one thing. And then what I'm proposing, and I did get a chance to mention this to Gloria before the meeting, is given that there's so much obvious disagreement about the name, is to let's not focus on the name, and let's focus on the goals of the alignment project. And I propose that we just table this name argument for at least a couple of months. And if there is a vehicle for people to send suggestions, although Mary, I think you said some people apparently have been sending suggestions, you know, let's not focus so much on the name, because what I'm afraid is if we go ahead with this vote in the next week or two, that what will happen is that either we'll vote for the proposed name and you'll disenfranchise a certain percentage of our membership that I don't think we can afford to lose at this point in time. Or we will be forced to stick with SLA, and I'm not making a judgment right now about the, you know, SLA versus the new name, but just the procedure. And that then we will be, you know, we will not have moved forward with this discussion. So I don't see what the big deal is about why we cannot table a vote on the name until maybe we've got more of this information out there to the membership and another vehicle for proposing names. And I think that the group that did the research has done an excellent job. It's just that somehow when it came down to the name, I think a lot of us agree, even though the concepts are there for what people are saying we should be doing or are doing, it just, I think, does not work as a name for all of the reasons that people have put out there on the internet. And I'm not necessarily against changing the name, but my main issue is I think that we should have been given a choice of at least 3 names, and I don't understand why that wasn't part of the process.
Because there was a concern that with 3 names, none would ever pass, that we'd not have enough votes. We're having enough difficulties with one name, that 3 names would sink it. And that they wanted to choose the best name using good research, solid research, in the same way a company does. A company does the same thing. Companies I work with do the same thing. They do the same kind of research, and that's how they move forward with their future. So 3 names, the possibility, Gloria can confirm this, but I believe that there was a big possibility that might not have, none of them would have passed. But also, they really wanted to use the best research and the best method for coming, not picking it out of a hat, not saying, well, it sounds good, but saying this is a name that works. It really works with our constituency. It works in the marketplace. And SLH has asked us to vote on this to help reposition them so they can reposition us. It's to leverage. Pardon?
We are the constituency. We are paying.
You're the member, the people that write your check.
those are the people we're speaking to.
Yeah.
And we're all gonna have a chance to voice our concerns on this through the e-vote that's coming up in the next couple of weeks. And I do agree with you, Eileen, where this name change might be getting most of the attention right now, but the alignment process and the research that was done prior to any of the name change, I think is the most important thing that we need to be looking at. And hopefully after all is said and done, no matter what we decide on the vote, we can all move forward with the alignment project on whatever we wanna call ourselves and really focus on the key findings of the alignment research itself.
I think though that that will, because there's been so much attention now on the name change, that the value of the research of the alignment project has gotten lost. And that you are gonna disenfranchise a certain percentage of the membership. So I do ask leadership to address that, and I understand this meeting is one of the places to do it. And I think that, I know everyone can't be everywhere in person, especially our president, I know is hopping all over the country and can't be everywhere, but I think that the personal contact is very different than email communication on this issue. So I'm still proposing, I think that we should table the vote and just focus on the alignment project research, and then at a later date, come up with a different way of revisiting a name change to reflect what we need to hope for a profession.